Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're going to investigate the hidden chemistry inside products we literally use every single day. You know the drill. We walk down the wellness aisle, we see those beautiful little amber glass bottles with the calming labels, and we just assume we know exactly what we're buying. But well, today, we're looking past all that clever marketing to peer directly into the actual molecular structure of commercial essential oils.
Seriously, do you really know what's in your essential oils? Millions of consumers buy these tiny bottles expecting pure, natural healing. Whether you're using it to help with sleep, clear up your skin, or honestly just to make a room smell like a meadow, your expectation is purity, right? But what if that label is hiding a completely different reality? We are essentially launching a CSI Nature investigation today to find out the absolute truth about what is really inside those commercially available drops.
So essential oils are absolutely booming right now across the pharmaceutical, cosmetic, food, and aromatherapy industries. It is a massive market. But this huge global demand, it's led to a pretty dark side. To keep up and maximize profits, there's a rising trend of adulteration. We're talking dilution with cheaper carrier oils, substituting inferior plants, sneaking in synthetic adulterants, or even leaving behind harsh chemical solvents. And here's the absolutely crucial point. This isn't just about you getting ripped off at the register. This actually compromises the biological effectiveness of the oils you're buying.
To figure out just how widespread this issue really is, a team of researchers actually stepped in as detectives to evaluate commercial oils. They went straight to the local markets in Daska City, Pakistan, and just bought commercially available essential oils right off the shelf, exactly like you or I would. Their published findings, which analyze the actual chemical and biological properties of these products, are basically the case file for our investigation today.
Okay, let's meet our prime suspects. The researchers anonymized them, so we'll just call them brand HM and brand NB. Both of these brands sell what are supposed to be identical products. Bottles of lavender, rosemary, and damask rose essential oils. I mean, if you bought lavender from brand HM and lavender from brand NB, you would naturally expect them to be chemically identical, right? Well, let's see if that assumption actually holds up under scientific scrutiny.
To interrogate these suspects, the scientists used a technique called FTIR, or Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy. Now don't worry, we don't need to get bogged down on the complex physics here. We can simply think of FTIR as a high-tech tool for mapping a chemical fingerprint. It essentially shines infrared light through the oil, and different chemical bonds absorb different wavelengths. The graph it spits out shows us exactly what functional chemical groups are hiding in that bottle.
And wow, this brilliantly illustrates our crime scene. What you're looking at are the FTIR spectra, the chemical fingerprints, of the exact same oil, damask rose, from our two different brands. Just look at how the peaks and valleys, particularly right around the 1700 to 1100 wave number marks, differ so drastically between brand NB and brand HM. Listen, if these were both pure, unadulterated damask rose oil, these two graphs should look like identical twins. And they definitely don't. When we break down those graphs into raw data, the mystery really deepens. Take the lavender oil, for instance. The HM brand contains an entirely different set of compounds that the NB brand is just missing altogether. The HM brand showed the presence of things like thiocyanates, aldehydes, and conjugated anhydrides. The NB brand? Completely absent. It is literally like finding a suspect's fingerprint at a crime scene, but half the ridges are just missing.
Next up, our forensic scientists measured the total phenolic content, or TPC. Phenolic compounds are incredibly important because they're the natural antioxidants in plants that neutralize harmful reactive oxygen species. This is exactly the antioxidant power that consumers are paying top dollar for when they buy essential oils for anti-aging or cellular health. So let's see, which brand actually delivered the goods?
The discrepancy here is just massive. When they tested the methanolic fractions of the lavender oils, brand HM absolutely crushes the antioxidant test, coming in at a score of over 484 micrograms. Brand NB, on the other hand, is trailing sadly behind at just about 151. Brand HM actually showed vastly higher phenolic content across almost all the samples tested in the whole study. You're buying the exact same plant, but getting entirely different health benefits depending on the brand you choose. Crazy, right?
But the researchers didn't stop there. They performed phytochemical screening, which is basically testing for the plant's natural defense chemicals, known as secondary metabolites. They uncovered a wildly varying distribution of these compounds. They found alkaloids, flavonoids, tannins, and saponins just scattered totally inconsistently across the samples. Although, to be totally fair, the damask rose from brand NB technically had the largest sheer variety of different phytochemicals detected among all the oils.
So the crucial point here is summarized perfectly by the researchers themselves. They noted that
Commercially available essential oils having the same names related to their plant origin vary in their compositions and phenol content. To put it bluntly, that fancy label on the bottle guarantees absolutely nothing about the chemical makeup inside.
All right, we are now at the climax of our investigation. One of the most common reasons people even use essential oils like lavender and rosemary is for natural hygiene. You know, cleaning scrapes, adding it to household surface cleaners, or using it on acne. So the scientists took these commercial brands and put them in a petri dish to see if they could actually kill bacterial strains like so many consumers expect them to.
Zero. Literally zero. That is the shocking amount of antibacterial activity demonstrated by absolutely every single commercial sample tested in this study. Not one single commercial oil from either brand showed measurable antibacterial properties in the laboratory setting. No way, right?
This sharp contrast proves a really vital lesson for us today. What we expect from commercial wellness products, all those marketing promises of deep healing and potent hygiene, often just doesn't hold up under the microscope. The reality is that the oil sitting on a local market shelf may have been so heavily processed, stored so poorly, or altered so much that their biological activity is completely neutralized.
So what's the final verdict from our scientific detectives? Well, step one, they acknowledge that sure, some variance is natural due to where a plant actually grows, but the wild variations in these commercial products are way too extreme. Step two, these glaring inconsistencies highly suggest adulteration and just flat-out poor quality control by the manufacturers. And step three, because basic tests only show us so much of the picture, we desperately need to mandate much stricter regulations and testing.
To actually catch the real culprits behind adulteration in the global market, scientists agree we need to escalate our interrogation methods. FTIR and basic screening are great first steps, sure, but the study notes that we need advanced chromatographic techniques, things like GCMS, NMR, and isotope ratio analysis. These advanced tools can tell us not just what is in the oil, but precisely where it came from and if synthetic, lab-made chemicals have been quietly slipped in.
As we close this case file today, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. We've seen the hard data. Identical labels do not mean identical chemistry, and sometimes they contain zero of the biological activity you're actually paying for. So, the very next time you browse that wellness aisle and pick up a bottle of essential oil, ask yourself, what's really hiding in yours? Thanks so much for exploring this fascinating scientific breakdown with me.